Hi there, Christoph here. I am currently working on updating the Bitcoin Core app prototype with the goal in mind to sync our various Figma files. So that's the main file, the one Michael's working on, and my workspace, as well as the design docs and the prototype. And I do think that building things out in the prototype is a good way to validate whether our planned interaction models work out in practice. So I've already did a whole bunch of stuff, and I just want to go do a bit of a walkthrough here, trying to cover as many areas as possible. So it's going to get quite detailed, I think. And there are some bits missing, and I will try to point these out. So as we know, the send form by default, we keep it very simple. If I just want to make a simple transaction, I enter an address, amount, a note, pick a fee, press review, send, done. That's the basic flow. If let's say I want to send the full balance, I want to enable RBF, I want coin selection, time locks, and multiple recipients, then the form already gets quite more complex. As with multiple recipients, we split the form in two. One is like the recipient-specific information, and one is the transaction-wide information, such as the coin selection, the total fee, total amount, and the, I believe, lock time. Although maybe one of those goes further up here. So, but something new I added in the prototype here is in the sidebar, you can now very easily switch between pre-filled versions for single and multiple recipients. So you don't have to manually fill things in. Makes it easier for testing. Press one recipient, click review, press multiple recipients, click review. But before we do that, let's take a look at coin selection here, because that is accessible from this screen. So let's say I've entered all my information. I click coin selection. Coin selection is a temporary screen that shows up. So it slides in from the bottom and temporarily takes over the whole screen, including the top navigation. So this is what that looks like. I'm going to refresh it so I get some more dummy data here. So now my task is to choose UTXOs worth 1.8 million or more. It shows me the remaining amount at the top. I can expand that in order to see more details here. So this is the amount I'm actually sending to people. This is the fee. The fee changes based on how many UTXOs I select. The total amount and the amount I've already selected. But to simplify it, just the amount remaining, that's kind of the key thing. So I can go through here, look at all my different UTXOs here. And, clearly there's not a single one that's enough. I'm going to have to pick a few. I can just toggle these on and off. One question I had here for the designers is how explicit do we want the hover states to be? Like if you look at macOS, for example, it doesn't have any hover states. So this is kind of true to that. Then if you look at other design systems, there are very visual hover states. A small detail I added in here that is not in the design files, but I've wanted to try out, is these little bars here. So that indicates how much this UTXA covers of my remaining amount. So there's 1.8 million, this one here is 900,000, so it's about half. So, and then I click on it, my remaining amount changes, and the calculation for the other UTXOs changes too. So this one is now half, where previously it was just a quarter of the remaining amount, and the bars adjust. So that helps me that I don't necessarily have to parse the numbers here on the right. I can just easily see, which ones cover the whole thing. And once I've covered enough, it tells me I have selected enough. This might not be the best verbiage here, but I wanted to make it very, very clear what that looks like. If we look at it on, let's say, mobile and the light mode, this is what that looks like. You can see the layout changes quite a bit. All the items get vertically stacked instead of horizontally, except for the balance or the amount, and this bar here stay on the right. The other thing here is that this whole row is clickable to select, but there's also this additional button on the right-hand side. So let's say for this address here, UTXO doesn't have a label. I forgot what it was, not quite sure. Here I can pull it up, and this is again a temporary overlay, so it slides in from the bottom and then disappears again. where I can just inspect this UTXO, maybe add a label, maybe figure out what it was and decide if I want to use this. There are also options here. Sorting is not implemented in the prototype right now, but you can get the idea. Show locked coins is also more of a future thing. And then grouping by address. The dummy data never creates the same address twice. So in this mock here, you'll always only see one UTXO underneath address, but there could be 3, 4, 5 or so based on whatever data set you have. So you can say, well, include everything with this address or just include one or so. Both work. Okay, I think that's it for coin selection. Let's go back to our dark mode. When I press done, this slides back down and I'm taken back to the form that I just worked on. So ignore this here, like this should be what I pre-filled, what I entered previously, along with, you know, it says something like, you know, you selected 5 coins worth this and that. Okay, so we've got coin selection. Then let's take a look at the send review screen. Again, in the sidebar here, we have one recipient and multiple recipients, so we can easily switch back and forth. Small thing I changed here from the designs was I added a header here that says there are 3 recipients. And this also is, after playing with this, after trying it out in the prototype, this felt necessary to indicate this, because otherwise there's a lot of additional overhead, just kind of figure out what's in front of me, and this is like a nice mental shortcut. If I entered a label, it'll show the label. I could expand the item to show the address, and if there's an address only, then it shows the shortened version, and I can expand it to see the full address. Now later, each of those items may also include a little bit more information. So, and that is related to sending the full balance and including fee and amount. So if I have multiple recipients and I include the fee in the amount, I may want to say that there's one or the other here. That's where the fee is included from that amount. Yeah, so there might be a little bit more information in here. But that is very, very detailed. I think we'll get to that one. Then let's see, what does that look like on mobile? Pretty straightforward here. Visual preview. This is also, again, something that I temporarily dig into as kind of a, let's say this, in addition to this text version, I want the visual overview. That's what that looks like. I create some better fake data here. There we go. So this is what that looks like. It's basically kind of this, we called it coin flow previously. I just put visual preview in here, or visual review. Both of those feel like a little bit more intuitive than coin flow. So this is more of a future thing too. It's a bit of an exploration, but also something that I think would be amazing to get into. Once I'm done with that one, I go back to my transactions. And I think that kind of covers it. Of course, here in the review, there might be additional states like you're offline, you can't currently broadcast, you might want to export or download the transaction. If it's a multi-key transaction or wallet, then you may see a list of signatures, and then you may sign one at a time, and the same for external signers. So there's a ton of detail. I'm sure I forgot something in here, but I feel like the prototype is now way further ahead, and like I said, I really just want to make sure everything is in sync. And since it sounds like the prototype is used quite heavily as a reference during implementation, I'll make sure that that's in a good shape. So it's very detailed, so please let me know anything that stood out to you, so we can just go over things one by one and make sure everything's in good shape. So let me know. Thanks.